Well, hello. Right now we're going to talk about the Dawes Plan. Dawes Plan of the 1920s. And this is an economic plan employed by our Republican leadership in the 1920s as it applied to our international economic plans. So the Dawes Plan was meant to provide relief to European countries after World War I. Let me back up to explain. During World War I, the United States loaned $11 billion to European allies. US loans $11 billion with a B, $11 billion to our European allies during World War I. Okay. We send that money to our allies. Now, who are our allies in the First World War? They are Britain and France mostly, right? So we send money to our European allies. Okay. Who are our allies? Britain and France were the biggest allies, the biggest benefactors of that money. Okay. When World War I ends, Britain and France are in economic ruin. The war drained their coffers. They've got no money left. And France, in particular, was completely destroyed by World War I as far as their landscape goes, right? The Western Front went through France and Belgium, who's another ally, actually. And there's a ton of reconstruction that is going to have to happen just to rebuild the towns that have been destroyed across their country. Britain has drained their economic coffers paying for the war, all the ships and the supplies and the soldiers and the whole thing. Like, they just don't have any money left. So they don't have any destruction they need to rebuild, but they also don't have any money left to spare. So once the war is over, all of these loans, this $11 billion, is owed back to the United States. But Britain and France and the other allies there cannot afford to pay it. They just can't. So they come back to the United States and they ask us to forgive those loans. Our president, Calvin Coolidge at the time, and our economic advisors, our Secretary of the Treasury, for example, Andrew Mellon, say no, they are not going to forgive the debt. Instead, they require Britain and France to pay that debt. But what we do is a couple of things. First, we reschedule the loan payments. They still have to pay us, but they don't have to pay us as much, as fast as had originally been scheduled. And the second thing that we do is we loan them more money in a misguided attempt to help them repay the original debt. So what happens here is that the United States loaned them money during World War I, and we're going to loan them money after World War I as a way to help them repay. So we loan them more money after the war to help them repay their debt. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking, but Ms. Payne, that makes no sense, then I will say, I agree with you. Why would you loan someone who already owes you $20 and can't pay you? Why would you loan them another $20, right? To help them repay the first 20. It makes no sense, but this is what we did. So we gave them $11 billion during the war. We gave them more money after the war to help them. Now, another issue here is that nations like England and France fell deeper and deeper into debt, of course, as we loan them more money. They can't pay it, and they begin to default on their loans. Now, Britain and France says, hey, look, United States, we could afford to repay you if Germany, put Germany over here, if Germany will pay their reparations. So after World War I, the Treaty of Versailles says that Germany must pay for the damages of World War I, and that Germany must pay Britain and France reparations, right? The thing is that Germany cannot afford to pay reparations to Britain and France because Germany is also in economic ruin. So, what did the United States do? Well, in addition to loaning Britain and France money and restructuring the debt, the United States also, guess what we did? We loaned Germany money to pay the reparations. So the idea here is that now Germany should be able to, right? Germany is going to get the money. Let me do this. This is money going out. Terrible dollar sign. This is money going out. This is money going out. Okay, so let's follow the money. The United States gave money. That's number one. The United States gave money. That's number two. The United States gave money. That's number three. On 3 occasions, the United States is sending money out. What we do is, if we follow this money, we loan money to Germany. Germany can then pay their reparations to France and Britain. And then France and Britain can pay back the United States for the loans. So we've got 3 arrows going out and 1 arrow coming in. This is the economic policy known as the Dawes Plan. We are going to loan more money to our European counterparts so that our European counterparts can pay back the United States. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking, but Ms. Payne, we've sent money 3 times, we're only getting money back once, isn't this putting us into debt and economic peril? I would say, yes, you are reading this chart correctly. The Dawes Plan is an epic failure, as there is no opportunity for Britain or France or Germany or any other European nation to make money, to pay back the loans, and to get ahead of the money that we have loaned to them. So here's another piece of this plan. When the nations like England and France fell deeper and deeper into debt, they began to default on their loans. So we imposed high taxes on them to punish them. When they couldn't pay the loans that they owed us, we then created policies here in the United States that would tax products coming from Britain or France or Germany or anyone else who owed us money. We would tax their products more, which encouraged Americans to buy American-made goods. Well, this is good for America, right? In concept, in theory, because now Americans will be more encouraged to buy American goods. That helps America's economy. Here's the other side. Germany does not have a market to sell German goods because the United States, Americans aren't buying German goods, they're buying American goods. And Britain and France have lost a huge market in the United States because Americans are not buying British or French goods. Americans are buying American-made products. So Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, these other countries across Europe do not have access to a substantial consumer base, which means that they have no hope of growing their economies to the degree they would need to in order to pay back all of the money we loaned them. So over time, European nations had no hope of repaying their loans, nor could they afford to buy American goods or invest in the American economy. So this whole time, Americans are buying American and investing in America, but we've lost the markets in Britain, France, and Germany because they can't afford our goods. And Germany, Britain, and France have lost America as a market for their stuff, which means they can't make money. And all of this over the course of the 10 years of the 1920s is going to lead to an economic crisis. And in the 1930s, the United States' economy is going to fail. Britain, France, Germany, and the rest of Europe's economies are going to fail. And one of the reasons that we can trace back to is this economic policy called the Dawes Plan. This was the Republican international economic policy in the 1920s. All right, hope that helps.